Hello, and welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
Where we discuss history and hauntings.
Today, we'll be discussing Hotel Bethlehem in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm Erica.
And I'm Sarah.
All right, time to get started. So, as you know, Sarah, my hometown is Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's known for Bethlehem steel, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson went to my high school. That's it.
That's so cool. That's all you need. You could have just said
Right?
the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson part.
Shout out to The Rock. So yes, it's also known for Music Fest, which is not a huge thing in America, but just in that town, it's a huge music festival, and it's on Main Street, part of it on the north side. So there's this whole district. It's called the Historical Moravian District. And these were buildings that were literally built by the Moravians when they founded the town, so they're really old. And Hotel Bethlehem was part of that. So it was in 1741. It was originally called the First House of Bethlehem, so they named it on December 24th. That's when they arrived to the town, and somebody was singing a hymn about Bethlehem, and that's when they decided to name it.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because I've always wondered like why the towns around there are named after like towns in the Bible, and that was why they were like singing hymns that night.
See, that actually makes sense because in Pennsylvania we have some very weird town names. But
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yes, that one has a rationale behind it. And then in 1823, it was replaced by the Eagle Hotel when they realized that they had enough tourists that they needed an inn, basically. And then Hotel Bethlehem was named in 1921 at the direction of Charles M. Schwab, the retirement guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Famous guy.
Yes.
Famous rich guy.
So that is how it got its name. That's kind of like the general history of it, which is pretty cool. And that it was 3 separate buildings. And then there are 3 main ghosts that they list on their actual hotel history page.
Oh, wow. They advertise this on their
Yes,
website.
they do. They also have like a whole history in the basement of the building, which they did not share online. You have to go to visit it.
You'll have to go.
I know. I've like never been in this, which is so crazy, but I've been past it because of that Music Fest stuff. So yes, 3 main ghosts that they advertised. There's 2 more that were there, and then there's just like regular paranormal activity. So the first ghost presents herself as a child, as May, and later in life she was Lady Frances Hope. So she was actually born in 1866, so in the Eagle Hotel. And at the time, yeah, which was really cool, her grandfather, Caleb, owned and operated this place. And even after he stopped owning it, he was still like a frequent visitor. When she was a youngster, she would kind of sing and dance around the hotel lobby, and she was so talented that as she got older, the Moravians pooled their money and sent her to Paris to actually like learn.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really cool. I was
Yeah.
like, she must have been a really good singer. So she did that and made headlines, like was extremely talented and made headlines across the United States. She also made headlines, this is what it said, for her flings. Because at this point, it's like real scandalous to have multiple lovers.
Right.
So she met and married Lord Francis Clinton Hope, who was a British lord. And notably, he owned a very famous jewel. It was called the Hope Diamond.
Oh my gosh. Like she married that guy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So super, but then she left him for an American soldier.
No comment.
And then that guy stole her jewelry and they got divorced.
What a
Which
juxtaposition.
I know. I'm like, this poor woman. So, yes, basically her love life was not great. So her happiest times are said to be in Hotel Bethlehem, in the lobby, singing and dancing. So she normally presents herself as a young child in the lobby areas. That's normally where people see her. Or in the 3rd floor exercise room, which I find interesting.
What did it used to be?
I don't know. No, it doesn't
Random.
say. Yeah, so she's just in the 3rd floor exercise room. And the hotel staff has said that the piano player will frequently turn on by itself. Or the player piano. I'm sorry, I got those words mixed up. The player piano will turn on.
So it's like a keyboard?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe. And so that will just turn on by itself. And they say they know exactly who's doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's ghost number 1.
Yeah.
And then ghost number 2 is Francis Thomas, also in quotation marks, Daddy. He was the Bethlehem town guide. So he was like the father of like the guests and everything. Yeah, when I saw that name, I was like, didn't know they had that back then.
Yeah, her father. Let's clarify.
So he was not born here, but he came to the colonies when he was young. And he used to be a courier, which I didn't know this, but that was actually a super dangerous job. They had to travel cross country to deliver packages in 10 days on horseback.
I could see that being dangerous.
Yeah. So literally the job adverts were like, be ready to die, basically.
Good.
So he had a pretty simple life. He married Anna Grafe and he raised 3 children of other missionaries, so they didn't have children of their own. So he kind of took on this like father figure to the guests of Bethlehem.
That's cool.
And
okay,
that's
so
kind
the
of,
name is warranted.
Yes. And now he's usually seen in the boiler room area of the hotel, and still is said to attend to some of the guests that visit it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So far, very nice ghosts.
Yes, they're all super friendly, which I feel like is why they like advertise it. Because if these ghosts were like running rampant, I feel like they would try to keep that like
on the down low.
Yes. So the third ghost that they kind of identify is Mrs. Brong Landlord. That was her name. So she was the landlord of the hotel, like in quotation marks, with her husband.
Okay, I was like, on her own?
I know. I wish. Yeah. No. So she was a landlord of the hotel with her husband, but she was terminated. They were both terminated after 6 months because she was said to like try to welcome the guests and also take care of them, but she was never wearing shoes or stockings, so she was just like barefoot running around.
It's a choice,
right? And at the time that was really like she was showing ankle, you know what I mean? Like
that's true. Scandal back then. Now it's just dirty.
Yes. And then her husband would just join the guests at the bar frequently and have to be removed by the bartender.
This gives me real Les Mis master of the house kind of vibes.
Yes. I mean, they were just free spirits, you know.
Yeah.
They just wanted to enjoy themselves.
For 6 months.
Well, yeah. And then they got fired, so. But she is seen in the kitchen restaurant area. And guests have said when they've seen this woman, she's not wearing shoes or socks. So that's how they know. I wonder if her husband's there, but nobody's really said anything about Mr. Brong Landlord. Yeah. So I don't know, but yes. And then 2 ghosts that are said to be there, but a lot of people don't, like it's not on the hotel's website, so it's not super popular. One of them is Frank Smith, which is a crazy story. He either committed suicide or was murdered in 1987. And so he wanders the 3rd floor, kind of making noises. But his death was officially ruled a suicide. But there were like questions at the time. Yeah. And his wife, like, it's kind of crazy, but his wife could not get the life insurance policy because he committed suicide.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, so they had a provision in his life insurance policy where he opened it in 1986 and couldn't commit suicide for 2 years.
Oh, okay. That does make sense.
Right.
Okay.
So that was a crazy thing surrounding that case. And then Mrs. Hobbs, which in my notes I kind of wrote, so she was known to be harboring slaves she brought from Virginia in the basement.
Did she? How? Did she own it?
See, that's what I'm saying. On the website that I was reading, I couldn't tell if it was like she was helping them to escape from Virginia. But then I was thinking, like, I don't think slavery was legal in Pennsylvania at the time. It wasn't. So if she was harboring them, I'm pretty sure it was a bad thing.
I don't know. I think historically harboring is sheltering, maybe?
Right, that's what so I'm unsure, and it was kind of unclear.
Well, we know that there were parts of the Underground Railroad in Pennsylvania, so maybe it's that. I'll choose to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, and now her ghost kind of presently guards shadows in the basement, is what people have said. So I assume that it's like maybe a good thing, but I don't know. And so those are kind of the
The 5
identifiable ghosts that people have seen. There's also paranormal activity that kind of happens across the hotel, but the biggest activity happens in room 932. And it's called A Room with a Boo.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Which is so cute. Yes. Apparently it also has a nice view of like the district.
Yeah.
But also the things that have happened in this room are kind of crazy. So a couple that was staying in the room, this is like the biggest thing. A couple that was staying in the room said that they were woken up by this man standing at the foot of their bed asking them like, why are you in my room? And so they frantically turned on the lights and he's gone.
Wow.
And they were like, oh my God.
Yeah, and running through the ghosts, that doesn't fit any of them.
Yes, every single one of them worked there. So it wouldn't have been somebody that was like looking in their room to be like, why are you here? I don't know if this is the same thing as the first couple, because I saw this on a website somewhere that someone heard someone say, why are you in my bed? Which is different. So that's why I'm like, it's sort of similar, but not really. And the guests immediately checked out. Like, they were like, we're done. Goodbye. And left in the middle of the night.
I always wonder what I would do. Like, I think my husband would immediately want to leave because he is not as adventurous as I am. I think I would probably leave.
If that happened to me, I think I would want to leave for sure. Because I would just be like, I don't know, am I like going to get hurt if I remain in your bed?
And also, you're clearly just being disruptive to whatever energy is there. Like,
yes.
It's not, at this point, no one's getting sleep, no one's getting rest.
Right. I'm not going to be able to sleep after that. Yes. Yeah. I would rather just sleep in my car.
Yeah, I know. There are other hotels in Bethlehem.
Also true, yeah. So yes, those things are crazy. And then there's also just like a lot of unexplained happenings. So people have reported seeing reflections in mirrors and then flipping around and then no one's there and then going back to the mirror and nothing's there anymore.
That is like one of my worst nightmares.
Yes.
I watch too many horror movies and that's always a trope in horror movies. When I was a kid, for a while, I wouldn't look at mirrors in bathrooms because I feel like it's always in bathrooms.
Yes.
It's never in bedrooms. Yeah, I've since gotten past it, but I think if it happened to me in real life, I would probably never get past it.
Oh, no, definitely not. I wouldn't be able, and I don't look in mirrors at nighttime. I can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, I can't do it. It freaks me out. And I think it's because when I was younger, I did that like Bloody Mary dare where you spin around and you do it 3 times. To be honest, it really scarred me, and I don't even think I saw anything. I'm pretty sure I just ran screaming. So I don't like looking at that. And I've heard that you're not supposed to have a mirror facing your bed the way that you're sleeping.
Oh.
Because things can like come, I don't know. I've heard this somewhere. I don't remember where or like where the origin comes from. So if anyone knows, please let me know.
Yeah, please comment about this lore.
Yes, but yeah, I don't have mirrors facing my bed because I've heard that that's not great.
Once we are finished recording this, I'm going to go move my mirror in my bedroom.
So that's happened. And then other unexplained happenings, paper standing or flying upright, just like stuff like that. Lamps flashing. Orbs have shown up in photos when people have taken pictures. And then the interesting thing is, so someone has reported that the bathroom wallpaper turned pink. Like they opened the door and it was an entirely different bathroom from what they had seen earlier that day. Which is creepy. Freaky. Yes. And then there's a TripAdvisor report, which I'll put the link in the description so everyone can read it. But it's a TripAdvisor. Like, this is not a blog. This is somebody like actually writing a review of the place. They said that they woke up and the entire room changed. So the mirror was in a different spot than where it was originally, and the wallpaper was different. Which I feel like is unexplainable. There's no way to explain that.
Right. So I love to be a skeptic. Like, lights flashing, again, there's always a possibility of, like, electric shortages and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's hard to explain.
Yes.
Unless there are substances involved, there's no reason. Like, unless someone doesn't understand or remember how the room was, no way. No way. No one in their right mind. That would really freak me out. Yes,
and there's a difference, too, from someone being groggy from sleep and waking up and not realizing they're in their hotel room. You know, because I've done that before. Happens. But, like, you would wake up and then be like, oh, I'm in my hotel room. You wouldn't think to yourself, this room's different. You would just be like, oh, I forgot that I wasn't in my own bedroom.
Yeah.
So that is just unexplainable. And then in April 2007, I could not find who this was. I tried to look up the report, but a paranormal investigator apparently stayed overnight and recorded a ton of voices, like someone saying, like, is this Mary? And like a couple other recorded things. Ooh. But I couldn't figure out who it was. I really looked everywhere and just there was no report. And they don't even name the investigator on the website.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I could not figure out who it was. So this room is the only super prominent ghost at this place that has not fully been identified. So the other 5 have, like, they were around the hotel.
Right.
They were employees there, so it was easy. Well, I mean, the Frank Smith stuff was like a news story, so people knew who he was. But most of them worked there. This ghost that's like haunting room 932 is just not identifiable at all. No one has been able to like pinpoint who it is.
And there was no deaths in that room or anything?
Not that anybody knows of. I mean, there weren't any news stories, there weren't any like information sheets, and even the historian at the hotel has said that if you can try and figure it out, please do it. Like,
oh wow, that's
yes. And so the Hotel Bethlehem website leaves a challenge really for those reading their ghosts page, which is basically plan ahead if you would like to reserve room 932, the room with a boo. I almost said bew, and I was like, that's not right. And then perhaps you can help us discover the identity of our 4th ghost. So this is like a full thing where people are trying to figure it out. So the question remains, would you visit this hotel and stay overnight?
So I would visit the hotel. I've only been to Bethlehem once, and I did go for a music festival. So when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah. Makes sense. Because it wasn't super close to where I grew up. I think it's like an hour or 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But I would go to the hotel. I think a lot of, like, the ghost sounds super friendly.
Yes.
And I like haunted places, obviously. Staying in that room, I would do it, but I don't know if I would try to sleep or not.
I agree. I think I would, like, try to stay up.
Right.
Because I don't know that I could feel comfortable sleeping in that room.
Right.
Because, like, that's the thing. Since the ghost hasn't been identified, we don't know the energy. You
right.
know what I mean?
But how? The question is how. Like, there are so many people that do this professionally. Someone has got to have better resources than us to figure it out.
Right. Because you'd have to have records of the hotel. You'd have to be able to access records and stuff. I really feel like the only way to do it is like try to figure out who, maybe a prominent individual who stayed in that room.
Right.
Because there have been multiple, the Hotel Bethlehem website has pages of like famous people that have visited. Like Winston Churchill was there at some point. So yeah, there's like a lot of cool things that have happened there that maybe you could try to pinpoint who this is.
Yeah, I would love to watch an episode of a TV show with professionals doing it.
Yes.
Just to see. I mean, I think this is one of those cases of we hear about super haunted, super famous places, but this is a mystery in a smaller location that is still super interesting and deserves to be solved.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, I would go to the hotel, stay in the room, but definitely not sleep.
Yeah, agreed. I think that, same here. That would work. Yeah, I could not sleep. Could not go to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of Hotel Bethlehem, and it's all of its, well, not all, but most of its ghosts.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
Tune in next Thursday for our next episode.